Wait. Here we see the largest and most famous pyramids of Giza. But this does not prevent the presence of large pyramids in Dashur and Fayum. However, all the pyramids were built west of the Nile Valley. There are more than 100 discovered pyramids.
Don, what do you think of this?
I have a theory that says that it was built for energy or, in a better sense, to generate energy, where it could be a machine or a giant stone system.
But 70 years is not a sufficient period for this tremendous development unless it is related to the discovery or innovation of something.
Yes, that's logical.
For thousands of years, the best minds have been unable to answer the simplest questions about the pyramid. Why were the pyramids built with huge stones? What method was used to raise the stones to this high? How were the tunnels and passages dug with such precision and integrity under the pyramids? There is no explicit text indicating how to build the pyramid. Although there are many inscriptions depicting the life of the ancient Egyptian.
Here we see the largest and most famous pyramids of Giza, but this does not prevent the presence of large pyramids in Dashur and Fayum. However, all the pyramids were built west of the Nile Valley. There are more than 100 discovered pyramids.
The pyramids drew the attention of many scientists and thinkers for their size and distinction. Trying to decipher them is the most difficult puzzle in the Egyptian civilization. If we look closely here, as some historians and scholars say, King Narmer unified the kingdoms of the north and the south, approximately about 3200 BC. And the ancient Egyptians found that the sun rises in the east and sets west of the Nile Valley. So, he considered that the west is the place of death. So, he built the pyramids west of the Nile Valley. First, the ancient Egyptians began building their tombs from mud terraces. And then, the matter developed into stone terraces. And after a while, it became a group of terraces on top of each other, forming a step pyramid. Yes, like step pyramid of Djoser, which then evolved into complete hierarchical shape. But what is strange here? The references say that the step pyramid of Djoser in Saqqara is supposed to be the first stone building in history, which was built in the year 2630 BC, only 70 years after this date. 3 of the largest and greatest pyramids in Egypt were built. All of them belong to King Snefer, or the 4th dynasty in general. The question here is, what is the surprising development that occurred in building the pyramids? In the sense that the period of 70 years is a short period for this huge development in construction. If we look at the step pyramid of Djoser, it consists of 6 terraces of medium-sized stones, and the length of the pyramid is 60 meters. We say that the terrace building technique is fairly easy to implement, but the pyramids that were built after that are very complex in constructions, in terms of size, height, and accuracy in implementation. All this happened in a short period of time.
70 years is not a sufficient period for this tremendous development unless it is related to the discovery or innovation of something.
The explanation is that the Egyptian workers built the pyramids in different way. The stone is the same, and the simple tools are the same. The sequence in the story of building the pyramids has a missing link. The huge volume that has taken place is incomprehensible. It can be said that Djoser's step pyramid is repeated in other civilizations, such as Mexico and Cambodia, and its implementation is relatively easy. As for the pyramids of Giza and Dahshur, they are unique pyramids, as design and implementation also require a long accumulation of experience and science in all aspects: astronomy, engineering, geology, stone cutting, and industry. Experience are not hundreds, but thousands of years. Therefore, the pyramids and their geometry prove that the Egyptian civilization may be older than its estimated age. Now, we fly quickly to the Pyramids of Giza, specifically the Great Pyramids of Khufu. The Great Pyramid is the most important pyramid that captured archaeological and historical studies around the world. There are dozens of historical books just for the Great Pyramid. The main reason for this is its size and accuracy, which distinguishes it from the rest of the pyramids. Well, the number of stones of the Great Pyramid is estimated at 2.5 million. The average weight of one stone is 2.6 tons, and some may reach 10 or 50 tons. The king's chamber and its entire ceiling are made of granite that was cut from Aswan. The roof of the king's chamber is made of 5 stones, and each stone weighs about 70 tons. What? But how? How were these stones lifted with such great weight and a height of 40 meters from the ground inside the pyramid? It's also strange. The distance between the cladding stones is less than 1 millimeter. We look closely at the king's sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid to clarify. They believe that the pyramids were used for burial. The sarcophagus of King Khufu, carved from a single block of rare and exquisite stone, is a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian art, and it weighs about 3 tons. The beauty and accuracy of the sarcophagus carving does not prevent us from saying that there were no inscriptions on the sarcophagus.
مش بس هيتعمل ساتر ترابي ولا مصطبة كده حوالين الهرم. هما بيقولوا لنا في مدارس ابتدائي المصطبة دي هي تمثل السقالة، يعني لأن ده مبنى كبير فهيعملوا له مصطبة حواليه كله. ده زي ما أنا قلت لازم يتعمل مبنى مستقل قد الهرم 10 مرات، وعبارة عن تبة خرسانية هائلة بتلف حوالين الهرم، وبعدين يكون موجود الأوناش والمقطورات والكاميونات والعجلات الصلب اللي تشيل 70 طن. ولا طبعا ما حصلش. طب اترفعت ازاي؟ أنا في نظري إن ما فيش إطلاقا تفسير للحكاية الخرافية دي إلا إن العلماء في هذا العصر كان عندهم وسيلة سرية وعلم خاص بيلغوا بيه الجاذبية الأرضية. يعني يعملوا اللي بيسموه دلوقتي الانتاي جرافيتي، أو إنهم يعملوا منطقة ضد الجاذبية. الحكاية اللي بيحاولوها دلوقتي في أمريكا وروسيا اللي هي الانتي جرافيتي. لازم العلم ده كان موجود زمان وكان وصل لدرجة الكمال، وكان في علماء بيقدروا بشكل ما يتغلبوا على الجاذبية. فطبعا إذا تغلبوا على الجاذبية يبقى الحجر اللي 70 طن يبقى وزنه ريش، خلاص انتهى الموضوع. وبعدين المسألة لم تقف عند هذا الحد، لأن هندسة الممرات اللي جوه الهرم، الغرف والفراغات، الصقل بتاع الجرانيت، يعني إن الجرانيت نبص نلاقيه جوه مصقول زي المراية. طب صقلوه ازاي؟ يعني ما فيش نقف محتارين وما نلاقيش تفسير.
It beats me how they did it. And I've set out buildings with optical instruments, with the aid of cranes to place the stones, and sometimes I don't get them that accurate.
It's also strange that there are no inscriptions on the walls of this large room in which the coffin was located. The question here is this possible? That wonderful engineering work is being built to pair the king and all the efforts of the ancient Egyptian building? And there is no inscriptions in this room. She explains that the pyramid belonged to King Khufu, like the tombs of the other kings. It's important to note that there is no concrete evidence of the presence of the mummy of the King Khufu in the Great Pyramid. And the burial chamber was found empty. The greatness, loftiness, and secrets of the Great Pyramid lead to the adoption of some theories and the exclusion of the idea that it was built for burial.
I have a theory that says that it was built for energy or, in a better sense, to generate energy, where it could be a machine or a giant stone system.
Beside an example from our time is the dams. The dams are built in terms of seizing water and avoiding floods, as well as generating electricity. We assume that something went wrong, or a solar storm lead to the technological destruction of the planet, or in a more correct sense, our civilization is gone or finished. All the turbines and equipment that generate power will be gone. And what is left will be the masonry construction of the dam. And after a long time, what would anyone imagine that it was generating electricity? Could the Great Pyramid, or pyramids in general, be built for this? In 1995, an audio engineer named Tom Daniel visited Egypt to make sound studies in the Great Pyramid. And this was a pyramid from the Egyptian Ministry of Antiques, and it was for a whole month. Tom Daniel and his team set up the audio equipment in the king's room, in the upper rooms, and also in the corridors. These audio tools, or amplifiers, emitting harsh waves, he receives it again and returns to calculate his measurements. Strangely enough, after the frequency reaches 30 Hz, suddenly the entire room shook. But why did it shook? What is the explanation for that? Knowing that this room is part of this large stone building, that may be a pyramid that generates energy. Among opponents of the theory, the pyramids were built to be tombs of kings, and opponents of the other theory that the pyramids were built to generate energy. Tell us with reasons and logic, which theory do you agree with? While archaeologists and other sciences are trying to find the solution and discover the secret of these pyramids, that expresses the genius of the ancient Egyptian.
The pyramids are not merely architectural marvels. They represent the pinnacle of human achievement. They were built with meticulous precision, employing advanced mathematical calculations, engineering techniques, and unparalleled craftsmanship. The sheer scale of these monuments is awe-inspiring, and their enduring presence continues to inspire wonder and admiration.
And after all this, someone comes and says that the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids with hammers and simple tools. How is this possible?